All he had to do was ask Jordan Henderson, Trent Alexander-Arnold. All he had to do was ask a fan, Jurgen Klopp. I mean, it's not like he hasn't got a hotline to his own manager. Just had to ask him the question.
I'm with you on that, but I think if it's down to his ownership of Liverpool, you've got to question the ownership of all the seats.
Absolutely.
So it's not just him, but I think I agree totally with you, and I think that's what's hurt a lot of the players, hasn't it, and the managers, but they didn't have a clue. In fact, some board members at some of the clubs didn't have a clue. They have totally kept this quiet amongst themselves, the big boys, they call themselves, wanting to make billions and billions of pounds. And that's what shocked everyone. Even Jurgen Klopp, you could see in his first year, you could see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that press conference. He was shell-shocked, mate. He was absolutely shell-shocked. He didn't know where to go with it. He just kept saying, well, I've not seen the details yet. It was an embarrassment. A club like Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, and their manager didn't have a clue what was going on in a press conference thrown out there on national television.
And because of all that, Ed's gone. Ed Woodward is going to be going this summer. And actually, I think that the fans won't stop there. We understand there'll be protests outside Spurs ground tonight from the fans ahead of Spurs Southampton, which is live on talkSPORT at 6. And Alex Crook, our former European Super League correspondent, is with us. We understand as well, just had information, Alex, that there's going to be a protest at Arsenal ahead of their game Friday night.
Yeah, this has been bubbling away all afternoon. An Arsenal fan actually contacted me on Twitter to make me aware of it. 6 o'clock on Friday, there's a gathering outside the Emirates. Hashtag Kroenke out is the banner. I've seen people making up posters to that effect as well. So I don't think these owners are off the hook yet. And if John W. Henry thinks that apology, hollow as it was, is going to appease the Liverpool fans, I think he's badly wrong. And you're right, I had this debate with Trevor Sinclair during White and Jordan earlier. He was trying to say that Manchester City's owners shouldn't get as much stick as the others, and I actually disagree with that. They should probably get more, because they're the team who've been right the way down to League One. They know the value of the English pyramid that these 6 clubs were single-handedly trying to destroy. So I think they're all equally culpable. I do think Manchester United and Liverpool were the ringleaders. I do think Ed Woodward was a ringleader. That's been suggested to me by more than one senior figure within the Premier League, although I'm also being told that he didn't know much about it. I struggle to believe that. I struggle to believe that. But as you say, he's gone. He is the sacrificial lamb, if you like. Manchester United have told me that he was going to go anyway, and they just announced it yesterday because they were worried it might leak out.
Well, they had to.
Yeah.
They didn't have a choice after everything that had followed. But I'll tell you one thing that the fans have not finished yet. And Arsenal Supporters Trust have been brilliant, haven't they? They come on drive time the last couple of days, and they've spoke really, really well on this subject. And it's no surprise to me, but they're going to have a demonstration on Friday, and rightly so, because there's a lot of things coming to light now. What do you think about some of the fans are still wanting punishment? I see numerous messages talking about, OK, we've got to send that message out and really say how disappointed we've been on it and what they tried to do was wrong, about a points deduction going into next season. Can you imagine if the Big Six started next season with a 15-point or 20-point deduction? It'd make for a good season.
It would, but I think it would get very messy if they try to go down that route. I think the 6 clubs are quite confident they haven't actually breached any rules. That there is, by law, a rule in the Premier League law book that you can't sign up for a rival league without written permission. But they would argue, well, we didn't actually officially sign up. We haven't played a game yet. So I think if they went down that route, that could be a long and drawn-out legal process. Again, I've been speaking to senior figures at other clubs. Some are spitting feathers. Some do want those kind of sanctions. Others, I think, are taking a more measured approach and saying, look, we've won the war. Executions are not needed at this stage. What we need to make sure is that we change the regulations so that this war doesn't need to be fought again. Graham Potter, I thought, spoke really well after Brighton's game last night and said we need to be cautious because this isn't the first time that these clubs have tried to break away and flex their muscle, and it won't be the last unless there is some kind of reform, because there's been a suspicion for a long time now that the Big Six hold too much power in those Premier League meetings, and I think the main priority for the other teams, the other 14, is to try and wrestle back some of that power, and that may involve government intervention as well. I wanted to draw your attention to a quote from Andrea Agnelli, the Juventus chairman. I mean, he's been speaking a lot in the past 72 hours, but one quote that he's given that hasn't really been touched upon is that he is suggesting that speculation, to the extent that if 6 teams would have broken away and threatened the Premier League, politics would have seen that as an attack to Brexit and their political scheme. Now, again, from speaking to Premier League CEOs yesterday, they were banking on the government to kill this. That they weren't necessarily planning on killing it themselves. They thought it would come to a natural end with government intervention. So I wonder if Agnelli may have hit upon something there, because Boris Johnson was very outspoken and said, "I will change the laws. We will do everything in our power to stop this." And don't think this is not Boris Johnson trying to score some political points, by the way, and get some voters on side. I think that it's a no-lose for him. But I do wonder now if government might get more involved in the running of football clubs. We've been speaking to various fans groups throughout the day. That 50+1 model that has worked so well in Germany, I think, is very much under consideration. It was anyway, and I think there's a hope and a belief now that what's happened over the last 72 hours might just accelerate that. And even Premier League clubs who were dead against that before, my understanding is, are just starting to wane and maybe think, actually, we do need a bit more governance as to the way that owners are allowed to run clubs.
Alex, brilliant. Thank you very much. If anything else breaks, let us know. And by the way, I am with you on Man City. Trevor Sinclair, I saw his tweet yesterday saying that Man City's owners were caught between a rock and a hard place. I am not having that, Trevor, at all. Man City's owners showed no bottle whatsoever. They showed no common sense. They basically saw 5 other Premier League clubs and the European clubs and thought, oh, should we get involved in this? Didn't even bother talking to Pep Guardiola about it, who would have, in a sentence, put them right on it. They pretend that they're close to the fans and they represent the fans and the people of that part of Manchester, and yet they couldn't wait to get into bed without even asking their own manager with these so-called European greedy giants.
Well, this is a problem when you went from football when we were growing up and it was a local businessman to having overseas owners of football clubs. They will never, ever understand the area we all come from.
Having said that,
they won't.
Hold on, Leicester, Leeds. I think that there are some who do go in and embrace the club and the area and the fans.
Well, Manchester City have done that. They've pumped their money in and
Mashiri on talkSPORT yesterday talking about Everton. You know, he truly understood why this was wrong. So I think just to generalise about all foreign owners is wrong. But I think Man City's owners here, they can't get away with this. They can't be allowed to say, oh, well, we've been a bit unlucky. I just think that's a disgrace. And in terms of the punishments as well, I really would love to, deduct 20 points from the start of next season. But I just don't think it would work. I don't think it would be practical to do that. I don't think it would be legal to do that, and they'd challenge it, and I think the appeal would be successful. So it's a shame.
20 points would be great for the season.
It'd make a great season, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?